Hi, I'm Annette Richmond. Thanks for joining me today. Now, while this podcast is about content marketing, the whole reason for content marketing in the first place is to engage and build trust with potential clients so they actually become clients. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about that relationship today. If you're like me, you've probably had potential client or two that you just didn't click with, or maybe they just didn't click with you. Sometimes we understand why the relationship just doesn't feel like a good fit. It might be because the person has unrealistic expectations. It's important to me that clients understand that our relationship is a partnership. I can give them strategies to become more comfortable on camera, but they have to do the work. I can't just wave a magic wand and poof, now they love being on video. I invest in a fair amount of training myself. I'm a big fan of learning as much as I can for free, but I also know that when it comes to upping my knowledge or skills, working with a coach or trainer will accelerate my progress. And I like to work with people who provide practical, no fluff training and advice. People kind of like me. But sometimes we decide that someone is not for us and we have no idea why. If you've ever had the feeling that you just don't click with someone, but you can't put your finger on it, I have something that I learned years ago that is actually based in psychology that I'm going to tell you about today. It's called the horns and halo effect. Simply put, it's those feelings, positive or negative, that we sometimes feel about someone when we meet them. Now, we all have implicit bias. For example, if I mention there's a job where people are wearing uniforms, you're more likely to think about someone working in a fast food restaurant or maybe the local barista, rather than thinking, oh, the Seattle Seahawks or an Olympic athlete. Implicit bias is something that we are most likely unaware of. We don't realize that it often affects our decisions and judgments rather than objective facts. The horns and halo effect refers to just that. When we make a snap decision, a judgment about a person we've just met, based on one positive or negative characteristic, the horns and halo reflect. The horns and halo effect for frick's sake. The horns and halo effect refers to just that. When we make a snap judgment about a person that we've just met based on one positive or negative characteristic that we don't even realize. And again, remember that those feelings can be positive as well as negative. For example, you might instantly feel a connection to someone if they remind you of a coworker or a boss that you enjoyed working with, or maybe a favorite college roommate or a longtime friend. I immediately feel a connection with people I meet who have dogs, particularly if they are rescue dogs, because rescue is near and dear to my heart. All of our girls are adopted, and my husband and I actually volunteered with the organization we adopted them through for several years. One of the things that connected me with my good friend Brenda Meller is that we both have Black Lab rescues. I'm always happy when I see her dog Pepper pop up in my feed, and that's the halo effect. You might instantly dislike someone who reminds you of a former boss or coworker that you didn't get along with. That's the horns effect, and I'll give you an example from my life. My days working as a bartender and DJ. It was the first day of work at a new place, and I was being introduced to my new coworkers. When I was introduced to the hostess, I took an instant dislike to her. There was absolutely no reason, and I had no idea why. I later realized it was because she had the same first name as a woman my boyfriend had been dating right before me. And for that reason, she was a bit of a nemesis to my 20-something-year-old self. We ended up becoming really good friends, but the first few weeks working together were kind of awkward. So the next time you instantly connect with or dislike someone you've just met or just don't know very well, think about why. And if that client doesn't hire you, that might be a classic case of it's not you and it's not them. It's somebody else entirely. Thanks again for joining me today. If you found this episode relevant, please share it with a friend. I bet they'll thank you. And I'll see you next time.